Sonali and Ishan are driving along an open road when a mild verbal altercation erupts. Their differing tastes in music fuel the confrontation. Sonali likes rock and roll, while Ishan prefers soft tunes. Sonali would rather have no music at all than tolerate soft music. In frustration, she hits the stereo, shattering it. Ishan then narrates their first meeting. It was a sunny morning, and they were riding their bicycles separately. Sonali hits a rock and falls into a small, dry ditch. Ishan notices and rushes over to help. Sonali grows weary of the help, but eventually gives in after Ishan convinces her. They spend the rest of the day chatting and having fun. It was friendship at first sight. After that day, they went on many dates, with Ishan spoiling Sonali with everything she wanted, from buying her a new bicycle to sponsoring trips for two. On Ishan's birthday, Sonali wants to go on a little adventure. Ishan, somewhat naive about the idea, goes along with it, and Sonali has her way. They sneak into a private residence. Sonali dives into the pool, followed by Ishan. Just then, a group of people walk in. Ishan panics, but it turns out to be Sonali's friends and family, who have come to wish Ishan a happy birthday at Sonali's request. Later, Sonali finds Ishan smoking a cigarette. She inquires, as smoking is an unfamiliar habit to her. Ishan had quit 5 years ago, but the stress of wedding planning has led him to return to it. He's beginning to have cold feet and wishes they had dated a bit longer before facing such pressure. Sonali understands and is open to canceling or postponing the wedding. After the wedding, Sonali and Ishan try to enjoy their first night together, something every couple does after they're married. But every kiss is interrupted by relatives cheering from the living room. Ishan has an escape plan. Like Rapunzel, he makes a rope using wrappers and drops it from the window upstairs. They use it to find their way down. A few months into the marriage, they decide to visit a marriage counselor and therapist. During the session, Sonali explains their differences. Ishan is sentimental, while she sees herself as rational. Sonali shares more, saying that Ishan's presence feels the same as his absence. She also feels that Ishan shows far fewer emotions than she needs, and she struggles with it. Ishan is surprised at this accusation, especially after all the effort he's put into making her smile. Dr. Pangama delves into their sex life, and Ishan revolts, questioning why they should reveal such intimate details. Sonali makes a face that suggests she has more to say on the matter. Dr. Pangama believes that part of their issues may stem from problems in the bedroom. He has a solution. He pulls out small human dummies to demonstrate effective sexual positions. The situation quickly becomes a tug-of-war when Ishan calls out Dr. Pangima for a mistake and jokingly accuses him of being gay. Dr. Pangima insists that he is, in fact, straight. Ishan then tries to educate Dr. Pangima on proper sexual positions, which infuriates the therapist. The therapy session ends abruptly. Back to the present day, Ishan and Sonali are still driving, with Sonali having just broken the car stereo. Ishan is still upset with Dr. Pangima for invading their privacy. They exchange mild words, but the argument is quickly forgotten when they encounter a competition. Bala and Tripura, an older couple, ride a Dakota bike beside Ishan. They taunt Ishan after trying to speed past him. Ishan takes it as a challenge, determined to keep them at arm's length and prevent them from riding in front of him. The taunts from the older couple don't faze Sonali. She begs Ishan to stop the competition, but Ishan wants to teach them a lesson. Unfortunately, Bala and Tripura veer off track, causing an accident. Ishan and Sonali stop to help. Ishan tries to call an ambulance, but Tripura knocks the phone away. She insists that her husband be given mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, guilt-trapping them into believing it's the only way to bring Bala back to consciousness. Weirdly, Bala and Tripura have made a bet, and their shenanigan is staged. They then ride off, leaving Ishan to wonder what kind of relationship the old couple shares. On their way back, Sonali thinks the older couple's relationship is great and exciting. It's her perfect idea of a romantic relationship. Sonali even suggests that they seek advice from the couple, but Ishan dismisses it. Well, Sonali wins this round. Ishan and Sonali are seated with the old couple. Their theatrics are unbecoming, even for Sonali. Ishan takes Sonali by the hands and attempts to leave, but Sonali still has some benefit of the doubt to spare. Comically, the old couple suggests something that might turn their marriage fortunes around. They want Ishan and Sonali to try the Honeymoon Express, a 7-day adventure. Apparently, Bala and Tripura are therapists who tracked Ishan and Sonali just to find a way to help them. Ishan thinks it's cocky and suggests they leave at once. Sonali loves adventure, so she asks that they stay back. The old couple reads out a questionnaire while Ishan and Sonali struggle to answer them correctly. The old couple decides that based on Ishan and Sonali's unspoken answers, they'll have a free 1-week stay at the Honeymoon Express. Ishan still protests, but Sonali loves the idea. Ishan and Sonali make their way to the Honeymoon Express villa, a serene country home with a large expanse of land, lush vegetation, and a palatial mansion at the heart of it. Ishan and Sonali continue to be at loggerheads. Within minutes of their stay, Ishan sleeps off, citing tiredness from the trip, even though Sonali wants Ishan's company. The next morning, Ishan wakes up and finds that Sonali is missing. Looking for her, he enters part of the mansion and finds another version of Sonali disguised as a zombie. The thought of her being an actual zombie sends Ishan into a frenzy. After a while of Ishan screaming and almost peeing on himself, Sonali reveals her true self. In the playhouse, where Ishan had earlier requested a massage, Sonali's other version, stationed at the playhouse, finds it the perfect time to oblige him. Ishan wonders what has changed. She even puts on a soft tune and proceeds to apologize for how she reacted back in the car. Ishan is pleasantly surprised, but he absolutely loves it. Ishan wakes up to a nice smell from the kitchen. Sonali's other version has prepared a special delicacy for him. As opposed to Sonali being a vegetarian, she prepares chicken soup for Ishan, and this pleases him. A small altercation between the couple sends Sonali into a deep sleep. She then enters a trance, where Rahul, her ex, visits them in the real world, disguising himself as a friend. The mansion has miraculously given the couple two personalities they can each interact with. Interestingly, the personalities exist in the same time frames. Ishan and Sonali live in the cottage. Ishan interacts with Sonali's other version in a playhouse, while Sonali interacts with Ishan's other version in another playhouse. Sonali wakes up and enters the playhouse. She finds Ishan's other version cooking. She doesn't understand why Ishan is going out of his way to cook and be all nice to her. She runs back into the cottage and finds Ishan sleeping, with empty bottles of liquor scattered around. She's sure that the sleeping Ishan is the real one. Sonali now wields her imagination powers. She enters the playhouse and is greeted by a voice. Ishan's other version disguises himself as a clown and attempts to hold her. After realizing who it is, they argue for a while. He then gives Sonali the kind of romance she likes, using poetic lines, dragging her back if she tries to walk out, and holding her close to himself. She comes back to reality and decides it's time for them to leave the mansion. At the gate, they find that they can only get the exit password at the end of their stay. In 5 days. Left with no option, they return. They then spend the next few hours trying to decipher how they have another version of themselves living in the mansion. Sonali suggests that it's probably the multiverse theory playing out. They then make a plan to unravel it. Ishan and Sonali continue to experience each other's versions in their respective playhouses. The character shown by the other versions bewilders Ishan and Sonali. Away from the muffled realities, Ishan and Sonali discuss their experiences. Sonali, in her playhouse, had to hide in the bathroom. This opened her up to something better. Ishan's other version spent 2 hours waiting for her at the door, while constantly checking up on her. She sees this as a perfect trait, tender and gentlemanly. Ishan notices the smile on her face. Sadly for Ishan, the smile lasts the whole day. Even in bed, Sonali keeps smiling and soliloquizing about her experience. Ishan resolves to be the man that Sonali wants him to be. He offers Sonali tea in bed, but it doesn't even go past her mouth. While Sonali still tries to get up from bed, Ishan begins making a meal. The purpose is defeated, as Ishan ends up making a meal that can't be eaten. Sonali is riled up, finding out that Ishan has messed up the kitchen so badly. Bored for a while, Ishan suggests a game of charades. It can't be played by 2 people. Maybe they could involve the other personalities. Another meeting with the other personalities leaves Ishan feeling conflicted. It feels like he's giving his wife to some other guy. Ishan enters the playhouse and finds Sonali's other version. She's prepared a celebration, thanking Ishan for being an integral part of her life. A flashback shows Ishan coming home late, missing their recommended time for intimacy. Sonali is pissed and doesn't even listen to what Ishan has to say. At present time, Sonali is with Ishan's other version. The anniversary celebration is cut short when Sonali worries about how much they've drifted apart. Ishan confesses that he's probably been trying too hard to meet Rahul's standards. He reveals everything he's found out about Rahul. At the cottage, Sonali, now armed with this information, confronts Ishan about it. She's baffled by how Ishan got information that only she knew. Sonali now feels like the mansion is becoming too much for her to handle. It feels like she can't tell who the real Ishan is, and this bothers her. Previously, Ishan had received a parcel on behalf of Sonali from Rahul. A beautiful painting of Sonali done by Rahul, with a handwritten note. In the note, Rahul states how much he misses Sonali and urges her to prepare to divorce Ishan because he'll be done with his studies abroad. He wants to spend his life with her and begs that she not have any children with Ishan. This letter sends Ishan into an almost depressed mood for a while. After the parcel incident, Ishan began rejecting Sonali's advances for intimacy, giving flimsy excuses. Rahul's letter had done a number on him. In real time, Sonali is still pissed at Ishan. Her escape route is meeting Ishan's other version. She finds him making a painting of her. Sonali can't hold her laughter when the painting is finished. It's a proper caricature. Sonali ends up teasing him as they run around the room. Ishan spends time with Sonali's other version. She admits that what she feels for Rahul is lust. Ishan plans to confront whatever is happening in the mansion. He tells Sonali's other version that another couple is sharing the mansion with them. Eavesdropping on the other couple, Sonali's other version states that what they share is lust. It's morning. Ishan leaves the cottage early. He acts like his other version and waits for Sonali at the playhouse entrance. He makes Sonali believe that he's his other version. He then asks to be taken somewhere different. Sonali, who is fun-loving and adventurous, embraces the idea. Holding his hands, she takes him to another part of the country home that looks like a resort. They find themselves under a waterfall, where they kiss and make love until dusk. Ishan wakes up and doesn't find Sonali, so he goes back to the mansion. Thinking she must have slept with Ishan's other version, Sonali feels guilty and ashamed of herself. She begins packing her luggage, urging Ishan to do the same. Ishan obliges, and as they try to sneak out, the old couple miraculously appears and calls them back. They berate Ishan and Sonali for not utilizing the opportunity handed to them to restore their marriage. The older couple magically calls in the other versions of Ishan and Sonali. Now, it's a competition, with a prize for the best-behaved couple. Sonali's other version mentions how much he missed Ishan as they didn't get to meet the previous day. Ishan's other version questions Sonali for missing their proposed date the day before. It dawns on Sonali that something is off. She puts pressure on Ishan, who then reveals why he acted like his other version. He admits that he spied on Rahul and found out that Rahul was Sonali's idea of the perfect man. Everything he has done has been an attempt to meet Rahul's standards. Having suffered rejection from women, keeping someone like Sonali became an obsession for him. Sonali stops Ishan from continuing. She's saddened that Ishan is willing to throw away his personality, the very one she fell in love with. Ishan is filled with remorse as he apologizes. They immediately devise an escape plan. As they drive out, the old couple stops them and gives reasons why they should stay till the end. Ishan disagrees. He drives on, while the old couple rides their Dakota bike in the opposite direction. In a few seconds, their vehicles collide. The collision sends Ishan back to an actual reality. Whether the Honeymoon Express was just a dream or fantasy doesn't matter. Ishan doesn't care. The bottom line for him is learning from the experience and making sure his marriage works, at all costs.